Panthers Nation, we are finally at that time of year. Yes, you have guessed it, it is hockey time. We are Confessions of a Happy Clapper, sponsored by Richard Martin Driver Training.
So we've got quite a bit to get through this evening. It's Rob and Matt with you, as ever, with the Confessions podcast tonight. We'll be talking to you about our full roster now. We did a podcast about a month ago with the majority of the players, but we've signed our full roster now. Last night's training session, standouts from that, the new jerseys, and our opinions about anything else that we might come across as we go through. Any questions that you've asked as well, we'll answer them near the end for you.
So finally, guys and girls, welcome to the 1920 season. We will do our best to cover the majority of games. With all being well, we'll get to all home games and a handful of aways. Starting with this weekend, of course, with the Devils are in town for Saturday the 17th for Clash and Sunday the 18th. We travel down to Cardiff. So we've already played 2 games together, so they have the upper advantage, if you ask me. Bonded already, maybe, who knows. Winning their first game 5-2, so off to winning starts, but then losing their second game 4-2, so a bit of a mixed bag there over their first weekend of hockey. It should be very interesting to see if we can start off as we mean to go on, right?
Yeah, it's worth adding as well with that 5-2 win that they had last Saturday. 2 of those goals were empty net goals, literally on the 20-minute mark right at the end of period 3, so would have probably been a 3-2 victory had obviously they not pulled their netty. Anyway, we're going to cover off the signings that we've made since our last midsummer podcast, which was back about 5 weeks ago at the start of July. We've signed 8 players since that point, with 6 of those being forwards for us, where we'd not really signed too many forwards up until that point. We're going to start though with the signing of netminder Jackson Whistle, who of course joined us after 1 season with the Sheffield Steelers.
Yeah, well, that's right. We've already been labelled the Steelers rejects for the 1000th time, I imagine. To be honest, I'm pretty pleased with Whistle. In my personal humble opinion, he's probably one of the best Brits in our league, and for a backup netty, I personally think we've got a good signing in him. 24 years old, 6'1" giant. And obviously he knows the league extremely well. It's 3 seasons and counting, starting with the Belfast Giants and then moving into Sheffield Steelers, those who we shall not talk about, and then finally seeing the light and joining the Nottingham Panthers. We're not forgetting he's also the GB netty alongside definitely the best in the league, Ben Bounds. In fairness, his save percentage wasn't the greatest last season, but then he was working with the Sheffield Steelers, which were having a real poor season last year, pretty much like us really, but hopefully he can shine against Kevin Carr for the Nottingham.
Yeah, I think probably what will end up happening with both of them is that they will compete for the position. Obviously we had last year 2 netties that were competing to be the number 1 netminder for Panthers, and I think that's going to happen again this year. Carr will be pushed by Whistle constantly throughout the season, which is a good thing, really. So, moving on, the D-man, the only other one that we'd not talked about in our last podcast, the signing of Jason DeSantis, 33-year-old American who's come across to us after scoring 14 points last season, 40 points in the previous season before that, which is incredibly high for a D-man, really.
Right, yeah.
Really good scorecard for a D-man, and looks like he's going to push our offensive line really well this year. Got some good AHL experience under his belt and plenty of experience really across many years. You know, being 33, one of our older players in the team. Average age of our roster this year is just 27. We are the 3rd youngest roster in the IHL this year, you know, so at 33, Jason's definitely got a lot of experience and looking forward to seeing him across the coming games.
Yes, most certainly. Moving on to the forwards, I like how in our little bullet points, you've put me down for the forwards. Can you not pronounce that name right there, can you?
No.
No.
Definitely can't.
No, probably not. Well, we have 6 new faces. The first 2 are very, very familiar. Obviously, we've got Brett Bulmer and...
Come on, then.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have it. Is it a George Golokov?
Yeah.
Both with EIHL experience. Bulmer, 27 years old. Obviously, he's coming from the Five Flyers, and he had a cracking year last year. 57 games, 57 points. I believe he was Five's top point scorer.
Yeah, he was. Just.
I think he scored 26 goals, 31 assists, proving that our offence could really be very, very tasty this year. Anyway, I'm going to let you start pronouncing these silly names now.
Okay. Golovkos?
No, I don't know.
Is it? 24 years old. He's a bit of a young one. He's from Latvia. He's got EIHL experience. Most of you will know him last year from the Milton Keynes Lightning. So he's followed Tim, where of course Tim was his player coach last year, and he's come up to the Panthers this year. He managed to score 40 points last year with 16 goals and 24 assists. In a Lightning team that was as bad as they were last year, they're pretty decent stats for me. I think he will have some good time for us with the Panthers this year, and it's a great addition to the Panthers, I think. Shining star, and with the right motivational and line, I think we will see that George definitely settles down to the team really well. So the 2 forwards we look forward to seeing are both Swedes, and we've both talked about these off the podcast, so to speak, quite a bit. Hans Jacobs and William Quist. Jacobs is 34, so again another one with great experience. There's only Matheson, I think, in our side for this year that's older than Jacobs, so a lot of experience in Swedish leagues across many, many years now. Very, very fast player on the wings. Looking at videos of Jacobs, he's definitely putting points total on paper. They're average, but we think in a league such as the EIHL, we will be able to grab some good, important goals for us this year.
Yeah, this year, yeah. We're already there.
We're there now, yeah.
So,
weird.
William Quist, another forward for us, aged 30, Swedish again. 52 points last season out of 40 games, so it's definitely looking promising. Looking at the past stats, I mean, personally, I've never really personally seen him play, only on the YouTube videos that we've been watching just recently. Yet again, he looks like a very, very fast skater. I think obviously this season it's going to leave a lot of room for imagination to the possibilities of where we can actually finish in the league. Really,
what are you on about? We're going to win the league. Obviously, we're the Nottingham Panthers. So the final 2 forwards that we've signed obviously are Sam Herr, 26-year-old American left wing scorer of 17 points last season with 9 goals, 8 assists in the 68 games. He was assistant captain last year for his team, the Ontario Reign, and Dylan Malmquist, who has worked alongside her in the past, actually. Should hopefully see some chemistry between the 2 of them off the ice. Dylan, 22 years old, and from the US, 30 points from 40 games last year, scoring 10 and 20 assists. Really looking forward to seeing Dylan when he eventually makes it over here. Because I've seen a tweet only just about an hour ago from the Panthers that confirmed that he will definitely not be here for this weekend, unfortunately, against Cardiff Devils, due to a continuing visa issue. But we're hoping that Dylan will be over here as soon as possible.
Yeah, so that certainly rounds up our full roster. Obviously, barring Sam Gospel, who, if you don't know by now, is starting netminder for the Leeds Chiefs for the 1920 season, but he will remain on call for the Panthers if we require him. So it leads us on to the training session for the season ticket holders. The guys, to be fair, look very eager on the ice, and they certainly showed some speed and work ethic. One standout character for me was certainly Kevin Carr. Not a lot went past him in that training session, if I'm honest. Another one that shocked me was Matheson. He looked pretty strong and hungry. His work ethic was pretty strong as well, wouldn't you say? It was.
Definitely.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
I think they all pretty much look very strong from the training session. I mean, we can't really take a lot from a training session, but what I will say is the 5-on-5 proved that the guys wanted to prove themselves, and you could blatantly and clearly see the first line of competitions. What do you think in that?
Yeah, I'll go on to talk about it a little bit later. We've got a question from one of our followers, but a little bit later, where we will talk about how we're going to see the team panning out. But definitely last night, from what I saw, the team seemed to be much more gelled on the ice already after some of these guys have only been here 24 hours at that point, compared to the entire team of last year. You know, it was a lot of almost strangers playing in the same team but not playing together last year, and I'm more than convinced that this year we're not going to see that, because the team just looked a lot more gelled last night straight from the off.
Yeah, they definitely did look a lot more gelled, and when I scouted through Twitter last night, a lot of people were saying similar things as well. They were saying that they looked as though they gelled far better than the entire season last season, and they're probably right, in fairness. So yeah, that's a
really fast-paced team from what we could see last night from the training session. I did find it quite hard sometimes to keep up with my eyes and watching some of them skate. I really did enjoy the fast-paced skating at the start of the training session. You know, watching the guys go around and skate is a magical thing to watch when you've not had any ice hockey for the whole summer. It was really nice to see. Carr, again, for me, same as Matt, was a standout, especially in the game set-up part of the training near the end. Tetlow continues to grow into his role. You know, I think it's testament to Josh Tetlow last night. You know, for those of season ticket holders that were at the training session last night when Ken announced the players onto the ice, Tetlow got a very, very big welcome from the fans, as did the whole team. But Tetlow's welcome, you know, was just perhaps that little bit louder than some. And it was nice to see that Josh Tetlow got that welcome, and it was well deserved for me. He had a fantastic 2018-19, and it's only going to get better as he continues to grow in his role. And again, like I've already said, the team gelled well after just a few days together. The new plexi looks great and definitely improved the match night experience for those that sit lower down. We did have a little walk down, didn't we, to look at the new plexi at the edge.
Great, yeah.
We stood there near the end as well while they were doing the warm down. I'm not even going to pronounce that name. I'm really rubbish at pronouncing names, but the new score clock, everybody knows what I mean by the score clock.
Jumbotron.
Is that how you say it?
Jumbotron.
I don't know.
Jumbotron.
Looked absolutely amazing last night. I can't wait to see that in action tomorrow night against the Cardiff Devils. Because apparently we're already winning 2-1, was it? But we'd got 3 penalties. We were in the first period.
They've already predicted it.
We'd already got a 99 penalty for too many men, which
we like
continuing the Churnamaz era there. And we'd got a penalty for Steve Lee that's not even with us anymore. But anyway, the new Jumbotron looked awesome last night, and I can't wait to see that up and properly going in the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, very clear pictures.
For what we can get from Ken as well off Twitter, we are expecting some enhancements to the match night experience in terms of the entrance of the players.
Kiss cam.
Which will be from the 1st of September, which is the home game against the Sheffield Steelers, the first proper Challenge Cup game of the year, which will be at home. Kiss cam, potentially.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't want that. I sit next to you.
Quick smooch. Smoochy smooch.
I want to smooch you.
Or Dean, if you listen, we can have a smooch with you, mate.
Yeah. I'd love one with Dean.
So, jerseys. Oh, this has got quite a mixed bag with the jerseys, and I'm going to be up forward. Obviously, they released the last week in conjunction with the Nottingham Building Society. A bit of a change from the usual white and black. They've now got the alternative choice green jerseys. I personally like the green jersey. It's my choice of this season. I've pre-ordered the game quality one. The black and white for me don't seem to have much difference with last season's jersey, and I just felt like I was buying just the same jersey again. And granted, yes, it's a team. It is a team jersey, and you know it's not going to differ much. We haven't got many. The sponsors haven't changed much anyway, so I do understand that it probably isn't going to change a lot. But the green certainly for me it stands out. Many people are saying that it looks poor. They're saying the stripes look really bad on the arms. But in fairness, I've seen it in person now. I was a bit sceptical when people over Twitter were saying how bad this green jersey was, and when I saw it in person, I thought, well, it's just no